What's up, everyone? It's Charles here with Rocket Punch Army to do what is possibly the last diecast Star Wars figure review I do, because I don't have plans on getting Kylo Ren, and even if I get him, I consider him more of like a human type figure than Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers and all that, which are more like on, I guess, on the robotic looking side, which is why I'm even having them on the channel alongside the fact that they're diecast also. But yeah, so like I said, this is probably going to be the last one. I'm sure some of you are relieved, according to some comments I've gotten. But here he is, finally, Darth Vader. What a hunt for this one. Well, not too bad. I mean, it came out today. I had my wife go to the first Disney store, and they told her that there was no releases of any Darth Vader figure that day. However, they did try to sell her a $200 figurine. And I said, no, let's just go to another one, because he's definitely supposed to be out today. And, of course, I show up to a different store, and we don't find them. But we looked behind other boxes and we found them. So here he is. Alright, so he comes in the typical window design box, whatever, same design as all the other ones, except it's got its name down here somewhere, and the little nice red foil. But, you know, enough of the box. I'm blabbing too much about the box already. So let's just go ahead, open this up, and continue the review. This figure is absolutely beautiful to look at. It's like a little statue. Just looking at him like that, you can just leave him the way he is, and he just looks absolutely fine. I think the one thing that right off the bat bothers me is the PVC cape. But again, I'll get into it in just a moment as to why you may not really want to play around with this anyway. Even if it had a cloth cape, you might just want to have it as a statue. But yeah, so here he is, beautiful, nice and glossy, even though technically he's supposed to have different textures in the materials, which he does. You can see, you know, the PVC is a nice satin finish. It continues on to the chest here. It's not as shiny here on the crotch panels, but then the gloves and the boots are really shiny. And it looks like the rest of the material, the leather, whatever that's supposed to be, is almost as shiny as the boots. And I don't know if I really like that. I mean, it's got texture, and the boots are really like shiny, and this has a little bit of texture, but it's still shiny. So I just wish there was a little more variation. But again, this is a diecast figure for $24.95. I can't complain too much about that, because for $20, $23, you get plastic figures all day long. But this one has nice hefty diecast if you're into that, which I am. So I was saying something about it being a statue, and really, I mean, I hate to do this because it is a review. But number one, let's get that out of the way first. He stands well on his own. Okay, so he doesn't really need this stand. He's got one of the biggest feet out of the whole diecast series. But getting back to what my thing here is, if you're the type to want a super articulated Darth Vader, or want to articulate it as much as possible, or are the type to get really annoyed with paint chips, you most definitely want to stay away from this Darth Vader. Okay, so even though he is articulated, you know, it's not crazy amount of articulation. You can bring his arms out this way, and I like the way they do the hinge right here. All right, and it kind of goes right into like this upper chest piece here, which is fine. There's no scratches, but when you turn it this way, and I kind of have to hold it because I did have to touch it up already. The arms go up. You can spin them around if you really wanted to, but there's metal to metal contact. I wish there was like a piece of plastic or some kind of piece of vinyl or something to keep it from scratching, but it scratches. And you know, I'm very careful with the figures, and it started chipping. Also on this side, although this side clears a little bit better, the edge of the silver here. He's got the elbow, which is only a little bit less than 90 degrees. He's got a articulated wrist, no pop-off, you know, action or whatever to simulate his hand getting chopped off. He does have a waist swivel, again, metal to metal contact, things rubbing, so you know, a little kid might not care about that, but then again, why would you give a kid a heavy figure when there's lots of safe plastic ones out there? You got the vinyl skirt here. The legs do go out. You know, they're a little bit hindered by the skirt here, and the ball joint there is metal, because first of all, almost this entire figure is metal. You got the whole chest, the whole length of the arms except for the hands. You have the crotch here. You have the entire length of the legs except the feet. So there's a lot of metal. And the paint, although it's a good paint, you know, eventually just the movement of everything is going to show the metal underneath, and there's no primer or anything to help it. So it's, you know, you're probably going to be touching up a lot. if you're the type to not like paint chips. But me, you know, I like to display my figures. I think they look beautiful as it is. I don't need to put them in crazy poses. And to me, Darth Vader was never a figure that needed to be put in crazy poses. Like, I see a lot of figurines and statues where he's, you know, swinging around doing ballet poses. I don't need that. This is how I envision my Darth Vader, like this. Let me just correct myself. The helmet is die-cast metal. That's ridiculous. That's a first for any Darth Vader toy, I believe. I think the face, yeah, the face might be PVC because it feels warm, but the helmet is definitely die-cast metal. That's a big thumbs up. Now, getting back to articulation, we move down. We got the knee. You can bring the leg forward to get the knee, and it's really up to here. It really starts the metal to bang into each other. So, you know, not really worth it for me to try to bend the knee because there's not much you can do with it bent anyway. Then you have the feet here, which move up and down this way. And you got the head here, which seems to only swivel side to side and like very slight movement. You can tell it's on a ball joint, but it's very limited. The cape itself, surprisingly enough, is held on by that little thin chain, which is not really a metal chain. It's just a molded PVC to the cape. You can bring it around. You can see the screw holes in the back, which are much better hidden than the other figures like the Stormtroopers, which are shown since they don't have capes. So that's about the extent of articulation for this guy. Now, he does have just the regular fisted lightsaber hand. He's also got this arm here with the kind of chokehold kind of hand there, all right, which you can spin around again. Now, he also has this lightsaber here, which you can just go ahead and pop into his hand there. It goes in rather nicely. And you can display him this way, which is probably a good way to display him since you can't really do too much with the articulation anyway. I am going to do a quick size comparison with the Mafex 006 Darth Vader right here, which is right now my favorite 6-inch scale Darth Vader. And this is actually one of the tallest ones. I don't have the Hasbro one to really compare, but I do believe it's either the same or slightly taller than the Hasbro, but definitely much bigger than the SH Figuarts. And then if we look at the Disney diecast, it's even bigger than that. All right, so we're going to move this guy out of the way here. We'll compare him to some Hasbro 6 inches here. We have the First Order Stormtrooper. I know they're not supposed to be next to each other, or at least I don't know yet. Haven't seen the movie. Who knows what's going to happen in the movie. But yeah, as far as we know, they're not together, but that's just comparison. But we do know him standing next to these guys, which is another Hasbro 6-inch Stormtrooper. All right, now even though he looks okay with this Stormtrooper, this is really what you want to display it with, which is another Disney diecast Stormtrooper. As you can see, these scale perfectly. And another thing I wanted to make note of, a lot of people are very picky with the head sculpts and helmet shapes for Darth Vader. Just take a look at that. I think it's actually really nice. It doesn't look awkward from the sides. It doesn't look too awkward from the front. From the back, it looks pretty good. This one I thought was really nice, and now it's starting to make it look a little awkward if I compare both of them. Yeah, so if you're picky about your Darth Vader helmets, you can take a look at this, see if it's something you like. And I gotta say, guys, it really, really looks good on display. I mean, I could just leave this guy here and people would come in and be like, ooh, that's so cool. But yeah, that's it. Disney diecast Darth Vader came out today, November 23rd. So if you're anywhere near that date, you can go ahead and start getting your wallets ready. And that's going to be it, guys. If you're enjoying the videos, please subscribe, tell your friends. Also, click the link below to Big Bad Toy Store to check out some cool stuff, not only Star Wars, but Transformers, whatever you're into. And until next time, bye-bye.